Okay, so I'll start by talking a bit about some prerequisites to learning JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language, so having a basic understanding of HTML is a good place to start before learning JavaScript itself. HTML is the central language used when making web pages, using tags to infer the content of a web page. HTML is basically the foundation of a website. HTML can present content to users, and JavaScript can make a web page interactive. Before learning JavaScript, it may also be helpful to have some knowledge of CSS. CSS deals with the layout or format of a document written in HTML. JavaScript, HTML, and CSS all run in a web browser. So the first thing we're going to do is set up an HTML document. To do this, you start with a basic HTML heading. So right here we have the heading. To start, doctype HTML is in the angle brackets, followed by HTML and the body, also in the angle brackets. And then the fourth line here, this is for the background color. I chose pink, but you can choose whatever color you want. And if you didn't want a color, if you wanted your HTML page to just have a plain white background, then you could just skip this fourth tag altogether. And then next is the heading, H1 in the angle brackets. And in this case, what is HTML is our heading. Then after that is our first paragraph. You have the p tags on the top and bottom, and then your paragraph just goes right in the middle. Then after that is the second heading, but you still, well, we're using this example, still the H1 because they'll be the same size. If you did H2, the font would be slightly smaller. So to keep them the same size, even though it's really the second heading, you still use H1. This is the second paragraph. So just like the first paragraph, you have the p tags on the top and bottom and your paragraph in the middle. If it's a longer paragraph and you have it all in one line, you can break it down into little smaller sections. That way it's easier to see what you have, so you don't have to keep scrolling all the way to the right. This is a link to click on, and for this example, this brings you to the W3 Schools site, so you can check out some tutorials on more JavaScript and HTML stuff. If you didn't want just to have the website there to click on, and you wanted to say something instead, like click here to learn more, that's where you would put it, and you have it in the A tags. This is where the JavaScript really starts. So here down to here, and this is going to demonstrate how to make a clickable button that displays the date and time. So first, in the first section, this is kind of like the question, and it says, want to know the date and time? And then next, this is where you make the button, and you can have it say whatever you want, but we're just using click here. And then after that, this part here is what will make it actually function, so when you click on it, the date and time will pop up. And then this right here is just the ending, closing out your HTML document in the body, so you have the ending with the backslash in the angle brackets. So after you finish that, the end result is right here. This is what it will look like. The pink background, or whatever color you choose. The two headings that are the same size, because we did H1 for both of them instead of H1 and H2, which would have made this one smaller. And then the two paragraphs right here, here and here. And then this is our link. Click here to learn more. So when you click on it, it brings you to the W3 Schools website. And then this is back to our HTML page. And then the JavaScript that we put in, want to know the date and time? Click here. So you click and the date and time pops up. So that is the results, the product of the HTML and JavaScript scripting language. And then once you finish that and you have a basic understanding of how to add JavaScript into an HTML document, you may be wondering, why is any of this even important? Or how does any of this even relate to library science? But actually, JavaScript is a really valuable technology because because it can improve a website's performance, it can fix inadequacies with web browsers, and can be used with mobile devices. It can also ease the server load by pushing some of the processing onto the client. Learning JavaScript is valuable if you plan on designing websites, applications, or even games. JavaScript can be a way of getting the user involved by making a boring old web page interactive. Learning JavaScript is useful for librarians who want to take their library to a new level. This could be done by designing an application for the library, which users could then access from their smartphone or other mobile device. A librarian could also use JavaScript to make the interface of a library's homepage more user-friendly. Another way librarians could use JavaScript is if they want a message to pop up when a user completes an action or makes an error. An example of this is when a user is about to navigate away from the library's website and go onto another site. A message could pop up stating that the user will no longer be on the library site and will ask something like, "Are you sure you want to leave this page?" The user would then be prompted to click yes or no. In terms of libraries, JavaScript could really be useful to heighten the user's experience, and when it all comes down to it, that is what it's all about.
All right, thanks, Catherine. So we've seen a bit of what JavaScript can do, so let's see some more. Like Catherine, I made up a quick HTML web page to illustrate some of the JavaScript elements that we've learned through the past week, and I hope this tutorial will help you learn them as well. This first page right here just shows you how to create a button and how to create a pop-up alert when that button is clicked. So as you can see, we have some basic HTML right here, another heading exactly like Catherine described, another paragraph, and then this is where the JavaScript comes in. So this line of code right here creates a button that says click here, and then this is the function that is associated with that button when it's clicked. And then here is the actual JavaScript. So it's a function, we're relating that function to what we just typed up here. And then the alert, when we click the button, the alert will pop up and say welcome and happy, and then it will include the data that we've included in the function. So when somebody clicks on that, it will display that as an alert. Normally alerts, I think, are kind of negative. Whenever I get one, at least, I get all freaked out. So this one I decided to make a little happier. So let's take a look at what that looks like in an actual web browser. So I'm going to open that up. I apologize, my computer's being a little bit slow today. So once this loads, we will be able to see all of that HTML and that JavaScript all grouped together. So here's that heading, here's the paragraph, and here's the button that we created called click here. So we're going to click here, and ta-da! So that is the JavaScript alert that we get. So it says welcome and happy Valentine's Day. All right, so that's the first page. The second page that I made combines a little bit of what we saw from the first page, just gets a little bit more in depth. So let's take a look at that in total. Again, we begin with the regular HTML stuff, another heading, a paragraph, another different heading because it's a slightly different size, and then we've incorporated the first function from the first web page that we made right here. So that's the click here button. We've also created a button that will combine different texts as a stream of text. So right here we have the JavaScript for that. So here's the function. Here are the 3 text streams that we're going to display, and we're going to file them all together, print them out all together. So text 1 is will you, text 2 is be my Valentine, and text 3 is the result of text 1 and 2. Right here I put in a comment. These are actually really, really helpful. So if you are writing a lot of code using both HTML and JavaScript, and you want to remember what the code is actually doing. I know for me it's always helpful to have something written out in layman's terms, but you don't want to disturb the actual code. You can do 2 little slashes right here, and that indicates that is a comment and that it's not supposed to be performed by the web page. And then once again, we've got the manipulations, and we can kind of see what that looks like. So we're going to click on page 2 and open that up. And so here we are. It's a little bit more complicated than the first page. So here are the buttons. We've got, we've also used a little bit of special text, making this text bold. And so we're going to try it. And there you go. There's the will you and the be my Valentine displayed as a single stream of text. We're going to click here, and ta-da, we've got the same alert that we talked about the first time. So those are just some very basic ways that you can use JavaScript to enhance a user experience on a web page. And hopefully we've given you a couple of different tools, some finer notes or some things to remember, especially if you're a Mac user like me. I used TextEdit to create these web pages, and it's important to always make sure that when you're using it, you're not using rich text. You're using plain text formatting. I struggled a little bit with that at the beginning, and I hope that by telling you all that, you are able to avoid that hairy situation later on. So there you are. There's our tutorial on JavaScript.